So these videos are essentially teaching videos where I'm going to be taking my background knowledge as a tech artist and incorporating it into some videos on how I'm learning how to use Amazon's Lumberyard. What's really neat about this is that you get Amazon Lumberyard completely free. It is your engine. Whatever money you make from it is fantastic. It's yours. We're going to be needing two pieces of software. We're going to be needing Amazon Lumberyard, which you can get at the following address. I'll place that in the comments, or if you're looking at this off of my website, I'll have it in the lecture notes. And you're also going to be needing Blender. Now, I have a separate video I'm making on just how to install Lumberyard for this video, but all I did is there's two options that come up when you install Lumberyard. There's the Express install and there's a custom. I would suggest only do the Express install. Just let that install after you download it. Blender is fantastic. It's completely free. So both of these pieces of software makes you feel very empowered and safe when you're creating your own content. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be creating today. What we're going to do is we're actually going to take the Amazon Whitebox box, one of these crates, and we're going to export it into Blender, and we're going to create more of our own little ammo crate like this. So let's start off by just creating a new level. So I'm going to go to File, New Level, and I'm actually going to not save testbed because actually, you know what, let me go ahead and save that. I'll save this level. And then let's do File, New Level, and I'm going to just call this Exo testbed. So this is just kind of another testbed. This is where I would test my code and stuff. And you can see, don't worry too much about these individual errors. Sometimes they're more along lines of warnings than anything. So let's see what this one is here up top. It says user setting provider can't write to settings. Well, Lumberyard settings not saved. Let me look into. It's probably I'm going to make a separate video on how to fix this. This is something I haven't seen before. So if you do get that, I'll hopefully have an answer for you on how to fix it. Alright, so once you open Lumberyard and you have a new level, there's a couple things you have to do. To navigate, you just right-click your mouse. I'm clicking my right mouse button, rotating. I scroll my wheel in and out. Now there's something else you're going to need, and it's something called a gem. The gem we're going to be using is called a Whitebox. So let's close this out. And let's go to our project configurator. This is the crate that we edited in Blender. I'm actually going to close this out as well. I'm not going to save that. Now, if you're coming from Unity or Unreal, Unity has a package that's similar that actually one of my old students, Gabriel Williams, created called Pro Builder, which allows you to sort of model inside of Unity. And in here, Whitebox lets you do that in Pro Builder. Now, this is important. For me, when you read the documentation or you look at some of the stuff on the internet, it tells you to go to Enable Gems, which is correct. And then you type in Whitebox. And you check this on. But what I want you to do is, when you look at some of the other tutorials on the internet or you look at the thing, they actually have you go into a command line and type in a command to run and build this. For me, I didn't have to do that. So I looked at Whitebox, I checked it on, and all I did was click Save. So let's add another one of these gems to kind of show you. So there's also Poly, which I'd like to do a tutorial I've been playing with for creating rigged characters, facial characters, typing it in and having them speak, which is pretty cool. So let's say I want to install this Cloud Gem text-to-speech, and I'm going to hit OK. Notice it says up here, it says Code and Assets Gems will require a rebuild of your project. I'm not going to rebuild anything. I'm just going to go ahead and hit Save. And then with the asset processor that's built in, so let's go ahead and close this. It'll actually sort of build it out for you. So I'm going to click on this editor. Now off screen, I wish it kind of popped up on this screen. It says Lumberyard Asset Processor has started. The Lumberyard Asset Processor monitors raw project assets and converts them. So you can see now it's actually building out all of those gems into my project. And I'm going to, well, it looks like it's finishing up pretty quickly, which is nice. Here we go, initializing gems. And this is all I had to do to get the Whitebox to work. So this might be helpful. I kind of struggled with this a little bit because I kept trying to build it and trying to figure out what the problem was. So here's my Exo testbed. I'm going to click on that to open it. Now, if you're coming from Unity, this is just an empty game object, or you can create a blueprint in Unreal. What we're going to be doing is something equivalent. We're going to create an entity. So I'm going to right click and go to create entity. And I'm just going to rename this entity crate. I will actually name this, because I've already created a crate, I'm going to name this dumpster. And let's go ahead and see if we can make a dumpster really quick. So here's dumpster. And what I'd like to do is add component, and I'm just going to type in white here, and here's Whitebox. And I'm going to rename, see, it says dumpster, here's my Whitebox, that's fine. Now, in order to zoom in, I'm going to hit Z, and that'll zoom in on my object. If I want to rotate around the object, notice I'm holding the right button to rotate my camera. If you hold Alt and right click, or I'm sorry, Alt and middle mouse click, you can rotate around the object. So Alt and middle mouse click will let you rotate around the object. Clicking in the mouse will let it pan. So I'm just clicking in my middle mouse button to pan. To zoom in, I can scroll my wheel. Or for more of a refined zooming, I can hold Alt and right click. So just kind of practice the movement stuff. Alt and right click will let you zoom in. I'd like to maybe snap this to the grid. So if I turn this on and I press 2, it'll grab my move tool, and I can incrementally snap this, or snap this up and down. Okay. So I'm going to hit Z again to zoom in on this. Now if I'd like to model this so that it looks more like a dumpster. And what I'm going to do is just click on Edit here. And notice what's happening now is when I hover over this, it's starting to highlight these different parts of this object. The face, the edge, the vertex. Now if I want to move this down, I can actually select this edge. I'm going to select my edge here. And I can actually just kind of move these faces down. So I'm going to hold Control, and I can move these. Let's kind of rotate this around a little bit. Let me go ahead and turn this off as well. Position this just right. Actually, one thing I want to point out is, do you see how it's incrementally moving this? This is, if you want to turn that off, notice I can't do that inside of here. If I hit done, I'm going to actually turn it off here. And now when I jump back into edit mode, I can actually go in and just move these a little bit more freeform. So there we go. So that's part of the issue I was running into. So again, I'm learning the engine as I go as well, so little pop-up things will happen. Okay, so a crate essentially has a curved top this way. And let's say we want to create the area inside the dumpster where the essentially where our where our trash would go and stuff like that. So you can actually, there's a couple ways of doing this. I can hold Control, and that'll allow me to export this out, or I'm sorry, extrude. So if I hold this, I can hold Control, and you can see it let me extrude that out. I can also move that down. If I want to, let's see, alright, so let's say we want to create that indentured area where the garbage comes in. If I select the face first, then I hold Control. So remember, that's important. You want to select the face first. So you're looking at all 4 of the vertexes. Then I'm going to hold Control and just kind of move that in. And then I'm going to click in the center here and hold Control. And now you can see I've created the little divot area that, so I'm going to hold Alt and middle mouse click to rotate. That has that there. Now, again, this is going to be just kind of a quick tutorial on how to bring import and export objects. So let's say we want to export this out. So I'm going to click on Export here, and you can see the name. It says Dumpster Whitebox. I'm actually just going to throw this on my desktop for now, and then because I'm going to move it into the file, and then I'll delete it later. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save, and I'm going to fire up Blender. So here we are inside of Blender. Now, a couple things. If you hold the middle mouse in, just like in Lumberyard, you can essentially you have the option of rotating the camera that's here. I'm actually rotating around the individual object. So as you select each one, notice that it still remembers the last thing that you sort of selected and moved to. I don't actually need any of these objects. So I can either highlight or marquee all of them here and delete them, or I can select all of them here and press delete. So let's go ahead and import an object. So I'm going to go to File, Import here, and I'm going to look for Wavefront OBJ. So I'm going to select that, and then over here I'm going to jump up to my desktop here and select Dumpster Whitebox. And now you can see that the my dumpster, here's my dumpster that we created in our scene. Now one thing I want you to notice is why you might be wondering, well, why is my dumpster flipped? The reason for that is, do you see my y-axis here runs in this direction? Inside of Lumberyard, my y-axis is my up direction. So if I want to edit this and bring this in, so we can actually rotate it this way, or for a little bit cleaner way of doing this, I can hit R to bring up my rotation, and then the axis that I want to rotate on, right? So here's the x-axis, and I could type in 90, or let's do minus 90. And I'll press enter, and you can see it rotated upwards. So let's go ahead and move this up along our pivot. Now you can press the 1 key if you have if you have a full keyboard. You can press the number 1 key on your numpad, or you can hit the tilde key and just go to front view. And then what I'd like to do is reset the scaling and everything of this object. So I'm going to bring this out a little bit, and you can see that my rotation is now roughly 91 degrees, right? So you can see here's 90, and so if we do minus 90, you can see there's you can adjust the different height elements. So if we do minus 180, oops, there we go. So let's zero that out, and that you can see if we zero that out, it'll return our rotation because it's coming in sort of off rotated. Now I'm going to show you when we export it how to fix that. But for now, let's go ahead and clear out our rotation. So I'm going to hit Control A, all transforms, and that reset this. And it also moved the cursor here to this guy, which is our 3D cursor. All right. And so, yeah. So, okay, so let's go ahead and sort of edit this. So we can see that there's a difference. So let's say we want to add maybe I don't know, like a lid that's straight up in the air. So I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to go to Mesh, and I'm going to go to Cube, and that'll create a cube for me. And notice it created the cube at the center of the 3D cursor. If you're completely new to Blender, I wouldn't worry about it too much. And also, if you're not seeing this move tool here, that's this, you can turn it on here. So with this selected, I'm going to go up to my move tool, and I'm just going to move this and just sort of place it right above that dumpster here. Something like that. And I'm going to press the S key out here, S like Sam, and just scale this down. And I'm middle mouse clicking to rotate. I'm just going to move it down this way. Now, mind you, this is not going to be the full complete model. I'm just showing you how to import and export objects into from another 3D program. So let's go ahead and bring this in like that. And what I'd like to do is combine these just so you can see them as one piece next to the other object. All right, now remember what I told you before. The y-axis is the up axis for Lumberyard. So let's go ahead. Sorry, one last thing. I want to just kind of bring this down like this. So I know this is not how lids are on trash cans, but again, I'm just trying to show you that there's an additional asset. So I'm going to highlight both of these, and I'm just going to hit Control and J. And what that did is that joined them together. And I'm going to rename this dumpster underscore lid. And I'm going to do File, and this time I'm going to actually export it as an FBX. And what I'd like to do in my settings is make sure that Y is up and Z is forward. So let's go ahead and just throw this on the desktop. I'm going to name this dumpster underscore lid. I'm going to hit Export FBX. Now, let's navigate to our desktop here. And here's dumpster lid. And let's go to our editor for a second. So here is here's the dumpster that we created inside of here. And I just want to put that dumpster lid into this objects folder here. And I have objects, environments. Now previously I created a folder in here called props, and I just made the ammo crate here. This is from what I was showing you guys at the start of the video. So how would I bring in the object, this dumpster lid, into this objects folder? So on the desktop here, I'm going to grab my dumpster lid and drop it in. And what you'll notice is a little pop-up will appear. Let's click back on the editor. And it's saying, hey, do you want to take it to destination folders, objects, props? Well, I can go into browse here and I can say, you know what, I want to make a new folder. It's getting a little dirty in here. I'm just going to call this dumpsters. And I'm going to grab that spelling and I'm going to go ahead and close this. And I'm going to have I'm just going to put a backslash here and then dumpsters so it knows to import it into that folder. You can do copy files, which will make a copy so you have a copy of it, and then you can do move files to move it in there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import here. And then I don't necessarily want to see the status. I'm just going to wait and hit close. And then when I expand props now, you can see I have a dumpsters folder, and there's my dumpster with the lid, and that is my FBX file. And there are settings. If I right click and I go to edit settings here, you can see I can adjust these, which I'll get into later. But for now, when I drag this into the scene, you can see here's our dumpster lid.